Yeah, XBC stream is now. Socialism is Hasanika tomorrow with special guest Lol Overruled. Get in now for free merch, giveaways, drama news, and pro gaming. Dude, I'm in my gaming era again. Christmas miracle alert. I was solo queuing in League last night, and halfway through the game, one of my teammates asked me, "Wait, are you a Hassan mod?" And that's how I found out. I got teamed up randomly with fellow Hasanabi head Spider Snacks and their Hasanabi head wife. So there are at least 2 married Hasanabi heads who also play League. Dude, I swear to God, Megaphonics' entire vibe now is just like always bringing it back to the fact that he has a wife. Like, basically everything, like Megaphonics used to be corny, sometimes cringe, sometimes productive, not all the time, like rarely ever, but he used to be mostly, yeah, Fizz is right, Megaphonics used to be a Elon guy, and now he's just a wife guy, which is definitely leveled up from being an Elon guy. But everything he brings up in the chat, everything he talks about in the chat is just basically rubbing it in your faces that he's a wife guy. Okay, he's Mr. Wife Guy. Anyway, here we're freaking blasting off, baby. Bro missed the wholesome point of the story to dunk on me. What do you mean? We know what the real point of the story was, dog. What is this? Anyway, blasting off. Wait, in Sydney, cops found something terrifying in a car. When one of them was asked about what they encountered, it was quite evident that he lost his speech for a second, and the cop consolidated his strength and provided the chilling description. Okay, what happened? Let's see.
There are material that appears to be anti-Semitic.
What's the anti-Semitic material?
Well, there's a small watermelon.
Wait, they're a mod? No, Megaphonics is not a mod, but he is one of the known community members, and I think as a known community member, people oftentimes hear their names and they mistake them for a mod usually. What is this?
The CEO who was
oh, I saw this. This was crazy. I saw this morning. It's so funny that I feel like our TikTok timelines are basically the same. Like, if you spend enough time in this community, in this chat, like we have very similar TikTok timelines, okay? Because I just watched this morning.
Shot was a client of ours, actually. So, like, I know him.
This guy literally knows Brian Thompson personally. Okay? He knows Brian Thompson personally. Listen to what he had to say.
A good guy, unfortunate, but I understand the stand that was taken, but not in the right way, but in a way that's visible. I understand how it got there.
People say, I don't agree with it, but I understand.
I would say that's where the camp I'm in. Yeah. Are you in the same camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it was right.
It's crazy. Like, this dude's like, yeah, I knew him personally, Great guy. Totally get why they killed him. Wrong. Mine are hot conservatives talking about seed oils. Hey, what up, Squeaks? I want to be on that timeline, honestly. I don't know why my For You page does not have that. So, Merry Christmas, Squeaks. I'm squeaksing my shit right now. I got lotion all over it. I'm squeaksing it. One of my parents worked for him directly. They say the same thing. That's so funny. It's like, dude, I'm telling you, for-profit healthcare is just so fucked. It's just so bad that, like, other CEOs are like, yeah, dog, I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I get why someone was forced to the brink of violence. And it's really interesting because while people say this, keep seething, while many people say this, there are still people who are holding on to this notion that, like, no, people are only invested in Luigi because he's hot. Like, no, it's totally unacceptable, and people should be mad. Why are they not mad? I'm mad that they're not mad. And it's just like a very strange reality cultivation operation from the media overall, It's like, no, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to. You are not supposed to say, like, maybe the fucking murderer had, maybe we understand why the murderer did the murder. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say unconditionally that this is wrong and that now is not the time to even talk about healthcare, actually. I do want to watch this
now-
crazy honey scam because this guy popped off big time on this video, and apparently everyone's chirping about it. And it's always really funny to me because, like, obviously I don't fuck with any of these like YouTube. I don't usually get any of these. I don't get any of these like YouTube advertisers in general, but apparently it's really busted. It's hella good, and Markiplier called it years ago. Yeah, we'll watch it. By the way, the fact that they want to charge him with something he didn't do shows how gullible the government is when people comes to hurting important people. Yeah, we don't even know if he did that. We don't even know if he did that. Dude, X watched a video about the protests outside the courthouse and was pissed, comparing him to the Joker and Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, I think it's because XQC just watches Destiny. That's it. And only gets his opinions from Destiny and doesn't like doesn't come up with any of his own personal opinions. That's got to be it. No, it's not because he's rich as fuck, chat. Get out of here. If I were to talk to XQC 2, 3, 4 years ago about like how Americans don't have socialized medicine, as a Canadian man, he would have been like, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. But I think like that's most likely the reason. That's the only, because aside from right-wing content creators like Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, and all these other people, like the only person I've seen online that is like routinely trying to defend Brian Thompson's honor is Destiny. So if you're like a Destiny orbiter, if you're watching him regularly to, come across as like an intelligent person by repeating some of his takes, you're going to oftentimes find yourself on the wrong side of most issues. But that's probably what it is. It's okay though. It is what it is. Please tell me you saw this outrageous shit. Yeah. I saw bits and pieces of Sean O'Brien on Tucker Carlson, and we'll cover it in a second. We'll do that. Don't worry. I'm a paramedic in Canada, and it always baffles me. And some of my coworkers think we need to change for a for-profit system. I don't think it's that baffling. I don't think it's that shocking. People are stupid. You know what I mean? Canadians are stupid too. Americans are dumb as fuck. There's plenty of Americans who exist under this cruel for-profit healthcare structure, and still personally believe no, better things are not possible. You know what I mean? There are conservatives everywhere, no matter where you go in the world. In Canada, they live in Alberta. Okay. What is Destiny's take? I don't know. I just saw a tweet where he was trying to play off the edgy contrarian neoliberal shit, which I thought was really played out and really stupid. But he was trying to be like, oh, I can't wait for this guy to get killed. I can't wait for this guy to get the death penalty. Luigi Mangione to get the death penalty so that all these guys can cope or some shit like that. What is it? The account that posted it is the one that always posts about Elon, ESJ or something. Yeah, this account I saw. Yeah, here it is. Praying that Luigi gets the death penalty just to see the collective meltdown. It's just so funny. Probably compared Luigi to Rittenhouse, to be honest. No, he didn't. Because he defended Kyle Rittenhouse very famously. No, he loved Kyle Rittenhouse's shit. He hates Luigi Mangione. No, he is just a right-winger. Like, what are you talking about? He's defending the honor of for-profit healthcare. That's what he's doing. You know? It's so weird he's acting morally superior about this when he was literally dunking on the guy who got shot at the Trump rally. Yeah, he's just all over the place. You know, he's a debate mercenary. Again, no conviction, no moral compass, no consistency. He will present itself. He will present his arguments as though they are morally consistent, but it doesn't matter. You know? If you consistently get your nose from this guy, you are most likely going to be on the wrong side of virtually every issue. But hey, if you can repeat his talking points fast enough, maybe you will think that you're coming across as brilliant. But most people will slowly but surely pull themselves away from you, not because they can't stand your brilliance, but because you're both annoying and also wrong. That's it. And constantly want to debate about how right you are, even though you are very obviously wrong. You will never be able to debate someone out of the harm that they have personally experienced by for-profit healthcare, for example. It's just not going to happen because they saw the pain with their own two eyes. But good luck. Yeah, you can't debate people into liking you. Like, I'll tell you that much. All right. You can't just be like, I'm going to debate you into liking me. I'm going to debate you into thinking my vibes are good. Anyway, yeah, we got 60 minutes, crazy 60 minutes propaganda. A man shouted Germany for Germans during a minute's silence for the victims of Magdeburg, countered by boos and Nazis out chants. What is this?
So now one of the
Colbert freaks out and changes the subject immediately after Claire Danes admits that the CIA allies itself with legacy media and mainstream journalists. That's weird. What the hell? Odd. Tie it down.
the things that you do you do this every season where you go get to spend some time with some
Is this an old, like, what is she in that, like, she's doing a Colbert report? Is this like an old video that they resurfaced or something? It's so fucking popular and everyone agreed with Luigi. I remember you read my message on how I assumed Destiny wanted Biden to step down and you said I was wrong. I assume political commentators had a bit of brain. No, dude. It's entertainment. It's content. You need to understand. For many people who don't have genuine convictions, this is just about content. It's about making content. It's about coming across. It is basically about coming across as unique as possible. Okay? Everybody tries to slot themselves into their own individual avenue. Most of these people, it's an old clip. Colbert isn't that young anymore. Yeah, this has got to be an old clip that they've resurfaced because what the fuck is she doing on Colbert show? Anyway, we've moved on. But there is, yes, this chatter is correct. There's a take economy out there. I don't necessarily participate in it, even though a lot of the things that I say frustrate people, and then, you know, people clip it out of context or whatever, and then blow it up out of proportion. But I don't participate in the take economy because my takes come from my own individual biases, my own personal opinion. It's not something that I am saying specifically so that, you know, I can get the most amount of eyeballs on it. Okay. And that's precisely the reason why there is always a boom bust cycle with this community as well. Because sometimes I'm like, nope, I'm stuck. I'm perma stuck on this opinion. I will not move away from this. I will not move away from my opinion. Israel is a great example of this. Okay. Where I just firmly am grounded in my perspective. And I refuse to budge. And a lot of people freak out and they get mad and they leave only to come back later when they find out that maybe I was right and that history has vindicated me. But that's it. It's not about like assuming a contrarian position specifically so that I can get the maximum amount of attention. It is what it is. Anyway, Hassan, history has not been kind to you. Have you forgotten Ukraine and Russia? That's so funny that this is that's so funny that this is the one thing that people still grab onto. And it's hilarious because like the analysis was still very much sound because history has vindicated me on that as well. That like not only did I apologize for making the wrong prediction and being incredibly convinced that it would be an unimaginably stupid endeavor for Russia to invade Ukraine. It was an unimaginably stupid and unimaginably cruel endeavor. So that part was correct. And it has not panned itself out. It's not necessarily been successful for Russia. So unless you think it's successful for Russia, I don't know what to tell you. But since then, there have been numerous moments where on that front, a lot of my haters vociferously yelled about my position and they were wrong. You act like you're so correct all the time, but have you considered this take? I had to go back nearly 3 years to demonstrate how wrong you are, even though you streamed almost every day since. Yeah, I know. Ukraine's leverage has crumbled since the proposal that was placed in front of them, a ceasefire negotiation that was placed in front of them when they had a tremendous amount of leverage in comparison to where they're at now. I urged caution at that time. Everybody yelled at me, said that I wanted appeasement. I can't believe we're still talking about this on fucking Christmas Eve, by the way. All right. Let's see what this old ass video was about that they resurfaced. There changes the subject. God, what is happening, man? I feel like if you just read the way that people actually massage certain things that are right in front of you, I'm not kidding. Like, you will just be in the very last
season.
I mean, he just like changes the subject a little bit. But I don't know. I think it's like, I think it's still, he cuts her off. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's like, come on, he's just moving it along. They've been talking about the CIA for over a minute on late night TV. That's bad TV. I think, yeah, when you have these sorts of interviews, like you have a limited amount of time. I don't think it's like him trying to like desperately protect mainstream media or some shit. Is also like a fucking clip from 2018. It's also true. Yes, of course the CIA and the intelligence community aligns with mainstream media. They play a fucking formative role in building up certain State Department narratives. This much is absolutely true. And Colbert probably plays a role in that as well. But I suspect that it's him cutting that off is probably to move it along more so than because he's like genuinely scared that the truth is going to come out on his show or some shit. Yeah. Also, those conversations are not live. They're not live. You know what I mean? They're shot live to tape with a real audience, but if they were truly terrified of like some secret coming out, they would have just cut that segment in its entirety. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's just probably trying to move the conversation to whatever she's promoting. Anyway, let's talk. How much does the CIA pay you? Not enough. Unless my CIA handlers are gifting subs in the chat, I would suspect that they're paying me nothing because you are the CIA in this equation. You are who pays me. My subscribers. Yeah. So technically, as Valorant is CIA as well. You can show your support by subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime or by getting gifted a sub. Let's continue.
Canadians are heading out today for the holidays with a dangerous combination of winter weather of snow and ice. It could build on the roads in parts of the Midwest and Northeast.
Yeah, so you're taking a live look right now at a highway in Albany, New York. The snow already making driving difficult and potentially dangerous throughout the Northeast.
I'm kind of jealous about this. I'm not gonna lie. This gives me a little bit of jealousy. Lexi T, thank you for the 5 gifted. Mike Robot, thank you for the 5 gifted. Both CIA people. It's just don't be. I know. But for me, it's like this morning I was balling, and it's like kind of chilly here. It's kind of dull. It's gray. It's cloudy. But when I see snow, I'm like, damn, like that's real Christmas spirit. You know what I mean? I can't get into the jolly holiday season attitude in Los Angeles. That's a 1L for LA, which is that it doesn't snow, obviously, which is usually a W for most of the year. But this one interim period in the holiday season for Thanksgiving, I needed to be kind of chilly and cozy, autumn vibes. And for the day of Christmas, it needs to snow. And without those two key factors, it doesn't feel holiday enough.
Ariel Reshef joins us now with the latest. Ariel, it is a bitter cold start to the holidays.
Hey, good morning and happy holidays, Rachel. And it's not just the weather wreaking havoc. We've been following that.
Snow is fun until you have to deal with snow tires, shoveling driveways, slipping on ice, sliding on the roads, house maintenance, higher light bills, etc. No, I know. I mean, guys, I grew up in Turkey where I experienced 4 seasons, including snow, and I lived in New Jersey. I know very well what it's like to have all of the seasons. For most of my life, I lived with all of the seasons. Okay? I know what it's like. I'm just saying that it's something that I kind of miss, but only if it's something that I kind of miss, only if I get it in like small bursts, if that makes sense. Because if I had it all the time, if I had it for like months on end, I'd probably kill me. Brian kill me.
Breaking travel news this morning for our viewers in the West. American Airlines grounding flights this morning. The airline blaming a technical issue and apologizing to customers for the inconvenience. Fortunately, that ground stop was lifted after about an hour, and we're not seeing any major impacts on flights so far, but we'll track that ripple effect throughout the day. The disruption coming as a quick winter system is moving east this morning, bringing a white Christmas Eve for millions. This morning, a winter blast impacting millions traveling for the holidays. From Massachusetts to
And this upcoming year, I do still plan on having a snow day for Kaya. Maybe go up to the mountains. Murat, where could we take Kaya to see snow for the first time ever in her life? Where could we take Kaya to see snow? Like that's close distance enough that we can drive to. Do you not hear me? Oh, Big Bear? How far away is it? Wow, it's not that is only 2 hours? Wow, okay. All right. Take her to the mountains of Tibet? Yeah. People are saying Lake Arrowhead, it's even closer. Oh, Lake Arrowhead is Big Bear, he said. There's no snow up there right now? Yeah. Yeah, we'll find it. There's definitely some snow in California, especially around these months. And once it's snowing, I don't know, maybe before Japan or maybe after Japan, depending on when the snow season is. We also got to do the other thing to be able to do that.
Wisconsin to Michigan to New York, swaths of the country blanketed by snow. Conditions enough to snarl some traffic on interstates and cause delays at the nation's busiest airports.
After 5 hours, they fully canceled the flight.
Everybody just gets a text message like flight canceled.
In Southern California, storms bringing 30-foot waves and flooding. In Santa Cruz, a man killed after a large wave pinned him under debris. This powerful Pacific surf knocking part of a pier into the ocean. Oh my God. Restrooms at the far end of the wharf breaking up and bobbing in the water. A man in a hard hat and another man near heavy equipment seen waving their arms, floating on the wreckage. 2 were rescued by jet skis. 1 other swam to shore. Luckily, the winter weather hasn't had a dire impact on travel. If you
what's up with this? Like, why is she mobbed up? Like, they're just posted up
driving to your
behind
holiday
her.
destination today, good news, AAA is predicting the roads will see minimal traffic, and the average price of gas is hovering around $3.04 for a gallon of regular. Safe travels, Gio.
Some good news. Happy holidays, my friend. Let's get you inside and out of those 26 degrees right now in Times Square.
Tis the season for spending time. Tis the season for spending time with those you may not always.
Why half of Americans expect conflict at holiday gatherings and how to handle it? That's so funny. This is so stupid.
Agree with. There's a new survey that finds that nearly half of Americans expect heated discussions at holiday gatherings.
This is like every single holiday season as Jank takes on more confusing positions, I become a part of the 48%. When previously I never thought I would be. You know what I mean?
Gatherings this year. And by the way, it found a few hot button issues that are sure to fire things up. In third place, religion. Never talk about religion. Coming in second, family issues like parenting and finances. And in first place, not surprisingly, the survey found that the most controversial topic is politics. All this has 1 in 2 people planning to avoid holiday gatherings altogether. That's because more than 30% of people say they don't think it's possible to have productive conversations about different views without conflict.
So how do we navigate all of this? How do we agree to disagree? Well, Dan Lyons joins us. He is the best-selling author.
Being a nuisance at family reunions, yeah, except my family is in agreement with me for the most part. Like, there are obviously disagreements that we have, but they're not like large enough or significant enough to fight over. Jank is the outlier in this situation. Ironically enough, he is literally the outlier. Yeah. We have a family of max leftists. Yeah, Shaky Gurga has become the fucking black sheep of the family in this regard.
Of the book, The Power of Keeping Your Mouth Shut in an Endlessly Noisy.
And I do think that I'm in a unique predicament because, like, I'm a political commentator and so is my uncle. Like, if we just had like regular ass conservatives or whatever, conservative relatives, it'd be a little different. You know what I mean? Like, Jank collaborating with Charlie Kirk is very different than like you talking shop or talking about football with your conservative coworkers, you know? That's something that I need to explain quite frequently, which is that, you know, one of the most significant principles that I routinely repeat is be fucking normal and don't be weird. Don't be a weird loser. So yeah, be chill with your coworkers, even if they're conservative coworkers, even if they voted for Donald Trump. Like, you can have like, you know, you can have normal conversations with them. But I think when it becomes a professional political commentator, that's a little different.
World, such a great title.
Yes.
He's also the editorial director of DocuSign. Dan, good morning.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So when we're with family and friends and things start to heat up, things start to get a little awkward, what should the person who's part and party to this conversation do to try to tamp things down?
Right. So there are techniques you can use, right? And DocuSign is interested in this because they're...
Your dad's ex-finance bro, though? I mean, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't give a shit about like American domestic politics. And for American foreign policy, we're somewhat aligned. Not really, but it doesn't really matter. Does that make sense? Like, he does not care about American domestic politics. Like,
agreement management company. So this began as a project about agreement rather than disagreement. How come some people are so good at agreeing with other people? So I went off and I talked to like hostage negotiators, a marriage counselor, a kindergarten teacher, really experts at agreement. And
that is insane. What a range, dude. What a fucking range. He said hostage negotiators to kindergarten teachers. These are all experts at conflict management, crisis negotiation.
one of the techniques you can use is just called thank you because. It's 3 words. It's very easy to use. You just bring this with you to this party, right?
What?
Thank you means I express gratitude to you for sharing your opinion, whatever it is. Because is I explain something I admire about your opinion, something I think is good. Now, once I've done that, now I can tell you what my opinion is, but because I...
You know who agrees with this guy?
Who?
Cenk, in regards to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, he does.
I've listened to you first. You're more likely to listen to me in return. And that is going to start bringing down the temperature and also it's sort of like showing somebody respect.
When your family member calls you a slur, say thank you because, dude, that's crazy. Like, is that happening frequently? Chatters, goddamn. Like, that's a shitty ass family member, dude. That's just like, I think when you just like remove political ideology from the equation, that's just plain old rude. You know what I mean? That's like an incredibly rude way to behave. Sometimes fam is your biggest obs. Brother, there is no opinion my parents hold that I respect law, and yes, families are omega shitty. How do you stay normal if your entire family is anti-normal to you? I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of disagreements that I have politically. I think I would have politically with my family members if I were to bring it up. I just don't, you know? Am I wrong? What do you think?
I think you're not in a good position to answer this because there are contentious families out there. And there's families that have a hard time having those discussions where they can voice their true, political leanings or whatever, right? And I'm not saying that anybody's a victim or anything, but it's difficult for us to relate to that in like a very true sense.
My uncle talking about deporting people and joking about pro-choice cat ladies. Me, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that.
No, I mean, like you can avoid the topic, right? You can. Yeah. I wouldn't say hide where you stand.
That's what I would do in that situation. Like I would steer every conversation directly away from political shit like that, because that way you win the rest of the room where they're the fucking annoying person that's like constantly making everything political.
Yeah, but I'm saying like don't just agree with everything, right?
Yeah, don't listen to this fucking docu-sign.
Like setting boundaries is healthy.
Just be like, why? Look, people, when I do collaborations with other content creators that are not political content creators and they ask me like a political question, what do I say? I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about politics. Why the fuck do you want to talk about politics? Like, that's it. You know what I mean? You can make them look silly by just being like, dude, why are you talking about politics? Thanks for teaching chatters being normal. It's important. It's a weapon. Problem is they keep bringing it up. No, I know. That's the funniest part about it. Man on the left, thank you for the 5 tier 1, give the subs. The funniest part about it is that, like, for the longest time, Trump supporters behaved as though they were the, silent majority
They still claim that.
When they were always the can't shut the fuck up minority. Like, they just can't shut the fuck up. Nowadays, I feel like they've become even more galvanized. They've become more emboldened. So they just never shut up. They love talking about how the rest of the family doesn't understand me because, you know, I voted for the right guy. I voted for the great white hope. And it's like, it's just like, dude, okay, you voted for Trump, man. You got it. You know, we'll see what happens. I don't think that it's going to be good for you, and I don't think it's going to be good for anybody else. But, like, can we just not have a political discussion for once in our entire, in this entire goddamn holiday season? Like, just shut the fuck up. Because I have noticed that, like, Trump supporters nowadays especially are, like, very excited to have those conversations. They are very excited. Where their entire goal is to be like, yeah, we got it. Ooh, my guy won. Okay, man, I heard that there's an echo. There's an echo. I know. I turned it off. I turned off Marat's microphone. Okay, shut up. No, I already silenced you, so they can't hear you.
Which is what you want to begin with.
So you also talk about this tactic of mirroring. What is mirroring?
Mirroring is literally starting your sentence saying a few of the words of your last few words. So you say something to me, and I start by saying, oh, rough day. You know, you're saying, oh, I had a really rough day, and I literally just say, oh, rough day. And that actually keeps you talking. So mirroring is a way of me showing you, look, I'm listening to you, I'm actually hearing what you say, and I understand you. So you're also building empathy. A lot of these agreement tricks actually...
This is dumb as hell, bro. This is dumb as hell. Nick, watched him?
All roll back to empathy. Just showing someone, hey, I understand how you see the world, and I understand...
This is for literal babies? Yeah, this is for literal babies. That's why kindergarten teachers are what he heard from. Wait, this video has only 1.6K views from one day ago and only one comment. And it just says, don't serve alcohol. This is such a funny video. I'm skipping the rest of this. This is stupid. All right, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. Yeah, you should tell your grandma, suck my dick, grandma. The revolution won't spare you. That's the smart thing to do. Mirroring my uncle. Yeah, the T slurs are fucking everywhere. It's so funny. You're a goddamn fascist, grandpa. You will die one day. We will send you to the salt mines. Like, there is, I think, a comfortable balance between agreeing with your straightforward fascist grandparents, okay, and also telling them that they're going to be sent to the gulag. And I think the middle ground there is just to be like, I don't want to talk about politics, man. That's it. Because those guys, they love talking about politics. And if you're in this community, you probably also love talking about politics as well. But you don't have to. Especially because, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to be able to debate your parents into submission. You're just not going to be able to debate them out of that position. Especially because they did not arrive at those positions by using logic, okay? You cannot help people with a logical ladder. You cannot help people crawl out of the illogical emotional hole that they have found themselves in by offering them the ladder of logic. It's just not going to happen, okay? At most, you can be a pleasant person to be around, and maybe then they'll be like, you know, I'm finding myself in agreement with, you know, the way you conduct yourself, and that maybe I can see your worldview a little bit better. This is why whenever people ask me, like, Hassan, oh, my younger brother is in the throes of like right-wing radicalization. What do? I always tell you, like, identify where the pain is, because most of the time it stems from a vulnerability. It stems from something that they're lacking in their lives. It stems from some kind of insecurity that they have, right? And if you can identify that, it's usually not about like immediate politics at all. It comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of insecurity. And it usually is something that you can deal with without actually talking about politics at all. Call them a pedophile and record their reactions for the internet. Okay, you should do that. Yeah, you're right. So we have to be their therapist? Fuck that. Wait, what do you mean? chatter being like, that's emotional labor, sweetie. Bir dakika Murat. Oh, dude. I'm not gonna do emotional labor for you, little bro. It's crazy. My brother is bitchless. How do I save him? Get him into the gym. You're absolutely right. My grandfather and I used to talk politics and we were very civil. I used to express to him my socialist ideologies and he agreed, except he calls himself a national socialist instead. Just don't be weird, chatters. Be no more. Okay, stop.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has threatened to retake control over the Panama Canal. Trump told supporters Panama was charging too much for U.S.-owned ships to pass through, considering how much Washington spent to build the waterway more than 100 years ago. Panama's president has hit back, insisting control of the canal is non-negotiable.
It's less than a month until he's back at the White House, and President...
Bro, he's making an impact. He's on this new era. He's on his American colonies arc. I gotta pee.
Elect Donald Trump is showing what his approach to international trade may look like. Addressing his supporters at a rally in Arizona, he accused the Central American state of Panama of overcharging U.S. vessels for passing through the Panama Canal.
This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. It's going to stop. The United States has a big and vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal.
The U.S. helped finance and construct the canal 110 years ago and finally handed over control of the passage to Panama in 1999. Passing through the Panama Canal significantly reduces maritime travel time by connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, enabling more efficient global trade. The president-elect fears other countries could gain too much influence on the canal.
When President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1 during his term in office, it was solely for Panama to manage and not for China or any other country to manage. You see what's going on there? China. Principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to the United States of America.
Panama's president José Raúl Molina rejects that China has any say in the management of the canal and insisted everyone has equal treatment.
The canal is not controlled directly or indirectly by China, the European Community, the United States, or any other power. As a Panamanian, I reject any statement that misrepresents this reality. The canal will continue to be in Panamanian hands as the patrimony of our nation and guaranteeing its use for the peaceful and uninterrupted transit of ships of all nations.
While Trump has yet to clarify how he plans to enforce his threats, the world may have caught a glimpse of what to expect from his second presidency.
Panama. Did the U.S. give up Panama Canal by History Matters from 2 years ago, a short animated documentary?
The canal is one of history's great feats of engineering. Connecting the Atlantic and the Pacific, the canal represented a major change in trade between East and West, saving time for many states and damaging the economies of others. It was finished by the United States in 1914, and these lands in Panama around the canal were under U.S. sovereignty until 1999, because in 1977 President Jimmy Carter had agreed to return it to Panama in return for exactly nothing. But given how useful controlling the canal was, especially during the Cold War, why did the United States do this? Why did the USA give up the Panama Canal for free? So, since Europeans had first discovered the New World, they had dreamed of building a canal straight through Central America. It never happened because digging is quite hard, and digging through a continent is even harder. This didn't stop the French from stepping up in the late 19th century though, since they had just finished building the much longer Suez Canal. The problem with this canal was the environment. Disease and terrain meant that the cost of building the canal soon spiraled out of control, and it wasn't long until the French gave up. In stepped the USA under Theodore Roosevelt, who wanted to finish the canal to expand US influence in the region. His government tried to strike a deal with the Colombian government, but they said no. This forced him to respect their wishes and, oh wait, no, rebels. In the north of the country, the Panamanians had revolted to achieve independence, and the US decided that it was going to help them, providing that they got the canal and control over the territory around it. And the new Panama government said yes, since without US support, Colombia would have reconquered the country. The canal was finished in 1914, and it remained under US control until 1999. During this time, the canal had been incredibly useful, especially in World War II, when it allowed US ships to easily cross between the Atlantic and the Pacific. And the US also used it to block communist warships in the Cold War. Plus, over the decades, the transit fee to use the canal had made the US government lots of money. Yet, in 1977, after decades of negotiations, President Carter agreed to a phased handover of the Canal Zone back to Panama in return for nothing. So why? Well, there were several reasons. The first was diplomacy with the rest of the Americas. American control of the Canal Zone, particularly the military bases which were there to protect it, was seen as imperialist by most nations in Central and South America. That and the Suez Crisis from a couple of decades earlier had cemented the idea that the world's waterways should be neutral. Carter wanted to return the canal to Panama to assure the rest of the Americas that the United States was going to be a good neighbour, and to also make sure that they wouldn't make friends with the USSR. Which brings us to point number 2, competition. Part of the 1977 treaty stipulated that the US would make the canal neutral to all nations, which meant letting communist navies use it too. Carter agreed to this because he was concerned that the USSR would finance another canal in either.
I'll never forgive Carter, that pussy, for doing that. And the goddamn commies use our canal.
Southern Panama or potentially Nicaragua. As such, agreeing to hand it over in 20 years meant that building another canal wouldn't be worth it. And furthermore, the US could keep collecting transit fees during that time. The third reason was military. The Panama Canal was important to American naval strategy since it allowed for quick redeployment of its ships to different oceans. However, in the days of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, it was no longer as important. As such, to Carter's administration...
Shooting at a Trump rally? What? Why would there be a fucking Trump rally on Christmas Eve? Chatter, are you a mobile chatter? What's happening? Trump's doing a Christmas Eve rally? What the fuck?
The cost of keeping the canal outweighed the benefits.
Chatter's like 6 months late.
Over. And after this, despite some grumblings, the USA was treaty bound to hand over the canal, a process which would be completed by the end of the millennium, which meant that after this, Panama would go from being politically cut in half to just geographically. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching with us.
He's using Internet Explorer. He's not even, dude. He's on a Motorola Razr. When you have issues like that, the solution, at least historically, has been implementing slave labor. That's usually seen as the solution to that kind of thing.
Rainfall.
Wait, so climate change and inconsistent rainfall could potentially cause a massive logistical issue down the line? Is that what we're gonna
in the Panama problem?
You could just like get a bucket, get a bunch of people with buckets and just like dump water into it, and you can solve that problem that way, I think. You know what I mean? Yes, global warming affects the canal. There was protests last year because there was a mining company that was destroying the rainforest around the canal. Isn't that where the guy killed the protesters? Am I remembering the Santa Claus looking motherfucker who shot the protesters that were climate change protesters that all the right-wingers celebrated on Twitter, by the way?
The newly formed water body is called Gatun Lake.
Oh, the Vince Vintage video came out on Tyler Oliveira. My goat, Vince Vintage. I'm not gonna lie, I wish this stuff wasn't animated. I would like to see the real trains, but maybe that's just me. And even like the canal too. What? Charlie watched a video with Brace in it. Some of your worlds colliding. Not sure if the OG video is satire or not. Spanking therapy is crazy. Okay. Go to the Panama Canal IRL. They have a train that goes from coast to coast in some seasons. There are so many videos on the Isthmus of Corinth. You can walk over and watch the ships pass under you. I want to see. These little animations are pissing me off a little bit. I want to see real life.
You probably know by now, the Panama Canal is dying. You've seen the headlines, watched the videos. The canal is facing a crisis like never before. Its lifeline, water, is drying. Ships are piling up in long queues waiting for days. Freight costs are skyrocketing and the ripple effects are being felt across global trade. And while Panama fights to stay afloat, other countries see an opportunity. They're racing to capture a piece of the $270 billion worth of cargo that passes through the canal annually, and its impressive $4.99 billion yearly revenue by creating their own megaprojects. This is the race to replace the Panama Canal. Which megaproject will take the ultimate prize and become the next trade route? One thing is certain, it won't go.
It's crazy because like it's rinse and repeat. I suspect that no matter where they rebuild another canal, they will still inevitably run into the same issues if they don't actually fix the underlying much larger problem, which is climate change You know, you can't infrastructure your way out of climate change. It is a global problem. And so I don't know. During the 2006-ish, the Panamanians voted for a referendum to expand the Panama Canal.
Down without a fight. The Panama Canal is one of the greatest.
I guess you'd have to do you'd have to swap your the intermediate from a canal to maybe trains. There's a Chinese version.
Have you ever imagined a
I've
ship
seen this
sailing
one.
above
I've already watched
mountains?
this video. I've watched the video. It's fucking so sick. Like, I've watched a version of this video, not this exact video, but
China's astonishing ship lifts and
this is
canals,
like stupid. This is the stupidest fucking. I mean, it's so sick. Look at
vessels
this.
weighing thousands of tons are defying gravity and ascending into the sky, something you wouldn't believe unless you saw it yourself. But how can a ship weighing as much as a skyscraper be lifted hundreds of feet above the ground?
It's incredible.
What kind of technology makes this possible? Time to find out. Dams are powerful tools for generating electricity, controlling floods, and storing water. But they also create enormous barriers by blocking the natural flow of rivers. This wall divides the river into two distinct sections: upstream, where water piles up into a vast reservoir, and downstream, where the water level can be significantly lower. The result is a dramatic elevation difference between the two sides.
This is why Water 7 was one of the best arcs, in my opinion.
Sides of the dam, ranging anywhere from a few meters to over 100 meters, depending on the dam's size and purpose. And here's the core issue. Ships rely entirely on the continuity of the river. Without a way to traverse this elevation change, the river is effectively split in two, bringing maritime trade and transport to a halt. This disruption not only affects cargo movements, but also the communities that depend on river routes for economic and daily activities. It turns what should be a seamless journey into a dead end, unless there's a solution. Historically, the solution to the problem of elevation differences created by dams was the use of locks. Locks are essentially giant water-filled chambers with gates at either end. Ships enter these chambers and the water level is either raised or lowered to match the next stretch of the river, allowing vessels to continue on their way. The use of locks to solve elevation differences in rivers dates back centuries. In fact, the first grand lock we know of was constructed in China during the 10th century, known as the Grand Canal's double gate lock. But here's the catch. Locks have their limits, especially when it comes to very high elevation differences, like those created
So
by
they just said, fuck it, let's make lifts.
modern megadams. Imagine trying to build a staircase that needs to climb the equivalent height of a 30-story building. You would need countless steps, or in this case, a series of multiple locks. This becomes impractical for several reasons, such as the cost.
You could easily fund one of these if you weren't a fake socialist. True. I could fund two. I just choose not to. You know what I mean? As you guys know, I have $10 gorillion. That is my net worth. My real net worth is my net worth is $10 quintillion. I just choose not to spend it.
Space needed, and the time it would take to go through different locks. This is where ship lifts come into play as an elegant and efficient solution. Unlike locks, a ship lift can handle a large elevation change in a single operation. Imagine an elevator but for massive ships weighing thousands of tons. Instead of waiting hours to pass through a series of locks, vessels can be lifted or lowered quickly, saving both time and valuable resources. And there's no better example of this than the colossal Three Gorges Dam ship lift. As one of the largest ship lifts in the world, it's capable of elevating vessels weighing up to 3,000 metric tons. Imagine lifting something as heavy as 500 elephants, or about the same weight as a small skyscraper, 113 meters or 370 feet up in the air, all in just 40 minutes. This makes crossing the height difference created by the dam efficient and surprisingly quick compared to the traditional 5-stage lock system, which could take 3 to 4 hours. This boost in efficiency is crucial for a dam of this size, located on the busy Yangtze River. Since its opening in September 2016, it has significantly increased the river's freight capacity, allowing for safer and faster shipping while also cutting shipping costs by 25%. This ship lift is a complex piece of technology with some remarkable specifications. The lift chamber itself.
So, did they mention this and I missed it? How do they power it? Do they power it through hydropower or?
Is like a giant floating bathtub filled with water, measuring 120 meters long, 18 meters wide, and 3.5 meters deep. The entire structure is suspended by 256 ropes, each connected to 128 double rope pulleys that balance the lift using counterweights. These ropes are anchored to the tops of 4 massive reinforced concrete towers, each towering 169 meters high. This intricate combination of counterweights and ropes allows the ship lift to move with the kind of efficiency and reliability needed for such an enormous task. While the Three Gorges Dam ship lift is an impressive engineering marvel, it's not the only large-scale lift redefining river navigation in China. Another major project pushing the boundaries even further is the Gubatan ship lift, currently the world's largest ship lift, capable of elevating vessels weighing up to 500 tons to a staggering height of 199 meters, or 653 feet.
That's, dude, I can't believe we live in a world where this kind of shit's happening. And like a lot of people are like, oh, Belgium did this, this place did this, that place did this. Like, it's still marvelous. Okay. Like, imagine being on a fucking ship and then you just go on a hydraulic lift. The more impressive part is the lift all the water that 500 tons sits on.
It's taller than a typical 60-story building. This impressive capacity makes the Gubatan lift crucial for enabling smooth river navigation across China's rugged interior. Its sheer lifting power is key to connecting the Wu River with broader economic networks. The lift system consists of not one, but 3 interconnected.
It's pretty crazy that China has this, and there are still, I would say a majority of Americans still think that like the Chinese live in like absolute abject poverty, living in like straw tents and dying of mass starvation with regular frequency, a nation filled to the brim with ghost cities. That's wild to me that we can be so oblivious to what the fuck is going on elsewhere. Americans think China is Ohio. Yeah, no one believes that in 2024. My friend, please talk to some normal people in your life because you are so wrong. There are well-read Americans who believe that, okay? There are Americans who are well-read who genuinely believe that.
Lifts. First vertical boat lift, a variable height lift capable of moving vessels between.
Like, there are people who are well-read who genuinely believe this, the thing that I was just mentioning, and also that China is going to collapse any day, and that all major Chinese infrastructure projects are built with like the shittiest build quality, the shittiest standards whatsoever that they could possibly find, and that like their infrastructure is on the verge of crumbling any day now. On top of the, why don't you ban Europors from chat instantly? Like there is a real belief in at least like, I mean, it's American cope in my opinion, but there is a very real belief that like a lot of people think that there is no technological investment occurring in China, and that like the only reason why they were able to build stuff is because they have no OSHA, they don't have regulations, and that their build qualities are dog shit.
Between 72 and 79 meters.
You're partially right. There are hundreds of millions of Chinese who live on $500 a year. Yeah. Also, China is, a massive country. And not only that, but also the cost of living is infinitely cheaper in China as well. So yes, there are still hundreds of millions of Chinese that live in like rural farmland. That is true. Absolutely. Okay. Having said that, however, like if you compare a Chinese tier 1 city and the existence there, it's like comparing American cities to like European cities. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's much cheaper especially when there is an expansive welfare state on top of everything else that covers a big chunk of what Americans spend money on. That's why so many people that go to China are like shocked at, for example, the price of rent, even in major cities where they're like, it's so cheap. Yeah, everything is cheaper.
Depending on the downstream water levels. Second, vertical boat lift, a fixed height lift of 127 meters, which is the tallest single boat lift in the world. Upstream vertical boat lift. This lift has a variable descent height of up to 47 meters, depending on the reservoir water levels. The Gupatan system is designed to be both powerful and fast. Each of the three...
It's so cheap with respect to America wages, you idiot. Wait, why are you mad? First of all, why are you upset? Are you John America? Like, I just don't understand it. First of all, you immediately hit the GDP line, which already is an interesting standard to set because, you know, look at America, wealthiest nation on the planet. Part of the reason why the GDP is so fucking high is because we have created ineffective, expensive, and expansive middlemen. You're the, oh my God, everything is so cheap. I'm bringing my American wages herp derp. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply stating that the reason why Americans are shocked at how fucking cheap everything is because the things are just much cheaper in China, and things are ultimately also cheaper, especially when you have an expansive welfare state in even Europe. I didn't just compare America to China. I compared it to Europe. Yeah. No chatter that says herp derp is going to be 14 years old. Okay. This person is 38 years old minimum. We're about to be in 2025. Yo, I'm 30. My management just sent me a Christmas
tree lifts has a lifting capacity of 1,800 tons, and the lifting speed is approximately 8 meters per minute. This means that a 500-ton vessel can be raised or lowered in just 10 minutes. But what really sets the Gupatan ship lift apart is the network of elevated aqueducts and tunnels that connect these lifts, spanning a total distance of 2.3 kilometers, that's 1.4 miles. This elevated canal system, suspended 100 meters or 328 feet above the ground, is what gives this lift its surreal quality. Ships quite literally sail above mountains.
There ain't no way, bro. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Did Zin send me? What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? No way. Hold on. Merry Zinmas, everybody. That's wild. This is wild. I thought it was just from my management, but I don't know if it's like actually from Zin or not. Oh no, it's from my management. Never mind. It's not directly from Zin. It's from management. Okay. That's crazy. All right. My manager sent me a Christmas gift. What the hell is this? Like, how does this? Yeah, let's promote nicotine products. I'm not promoting nicotine products. Do they think you're a right-wing content creator? No, my managers know I'm not a right-wing content creator. That's why they got this for me. A custom case, a custom Zin pouch case. The black thing is a snus holder or a Zin holder. Yeah. And a Zin belt holder. That's crazy. And then this. I guess the top pocket is for like trashing it. And then the bottom pocket is the holster for like when you're done with your Zin, you spit it into it. And then the bottom is where you put it. That's crazy. A Zolster. What the fuck? Saying you're promoting nicotine is insane. Yeah, what's really funny about that is that, like, first of all, it's illegal, I'm pretty sure, to promote nicotine. And I certainly am not promoting nicotine. I do, however, consume nicotine products. Stop promoting this stuff. I'm not promoting it. If tobacco didn't give you cancer, would you prefer cigs to Zins? It's not just cancer for nicotine. The thing that is also frustrating, or for tobacco products, the thing that's also frustrating is that it fucks up your lungs. I will never smoke cigs ever again for the rest of my life. If they got an ad on Twitch for nicotine chewing gum, so I think you're good. I mean, I have literally for free promoted nicotine gum as a way to quit smoking, which it worked for me. And I'm pretty sure other chatters have also been able to quit smoking. And I think it's better than vaping as well. So just so you guys understand, and this is not like a promo or anything. So yeah, if you do actually smoke cigarettes, it's infinitely better to substitute it to nicotine gum. Younger people are trending away from substance abuse in general, so vices aren't what it used to be. I don't know about that. I feel like opiates. Young people still very much are doing opiates. You should have a red cardigan on instead, or green. Yeah, let me just go buy a red cardigan or a green one. At the end of the day, something else is going to get you that is not nicotine. What? The Chinese median wage is higher than the US and the cost of living is cheaper. Sorry, I'm still on that. You actually helped me quit smoking. Let's go. Anyway, let's continue. All right. We've done a lot of mega project stuff. I quit cold turkey with Wellbutrin. Pretty surprised. It's actually been 3 months. I legit thought only old people did cocaine. I didn't know young people did it. Cocaine is for everybody. Way rather kids in than smoke. I started smoking at 12. Quit with non-tobacco products. Yeah. Wellbutrin has been a life changer for me in terms of my depression, ADHD, and nicotine use. Weed edibles don't work on me. I wish there was some kind of super gum for weed. What? What's the pillow thing? I just can't imagine with a cig in your hand. Yeah. Santa Claus shot down over Israel by Iron Dome. Okay. Wait, someone was doing a death threat on Christmas Eve? Did I see that? Did I read it out loud and not even understand that someone was doing a death threat? Merry Christmas. Imagine being in the midst of Christmas Eve and just being like, I'm gonna kill you, dude. Like, that's sad, dude. Please get help. Oh, it wasn't a real death threat. They were just making a joke saying something else is likely to kill you before nicotine does. Yeah, I guess. It's not incorrect. That statement is true. All right. We're moving on from the Panama Canal to Greenland, okay? Donald Trump is trying to purchase Greenland, or not purchase Greenland, or colonize Greenland. And there's a reason for it. And yesterday we dove into it a little bit. With our favorite boy, Donald Harris. Donald Harris talked about America's plans for Greenland. I'm going to go back to that now and watch that video. I'm finished that video where we left off.
This massive island is located
China and the USA are fighting over Greenland is the title of the video. Okay. Poor lady. Please cover Denmark's response from last time where they counter-offered to buy America. Yeah, I don't think they have that. I don't think they have the money to do such things like that. Picking up where we rage quit? No, I didn't even rage quit. I had to go play Marvel Rivals.
Conveniently within the Arctic Circle. This is why it was the chosen jumping off point for Arctic explorers who were trying to be the first to reach the North Pole in the early 1900s. In fact, the US recognized that this massive island was a smart geopolitical location a long time ago, convincing Greenland's colonizers to help them evict an Inuit community so that they could put an airbase up here. The top of the world turned out to be a perfect location to traverse their growing empire and to spy on the Soviets during the Cold War. They even had nuclear weapons up here for a time. And it wasn't just one base. Over the course of the 20th century, the US set up a handful of military bases in Greenland. They used this island to put up these massive radar systems, which would serve as early warning in case a Soviet invasion came from the north.
And now it just looks like a full-blown prop from a Star Wars movie. I mean, look at these.
So Greenland's strategic potential was clear, but once the Soviet threat went away, the US mostly abandoned its presence here. Though they still have that base way up north, and they've turned it actually into the base of their Space Force. But they eventually closed down their embassy in the capital, and Greenland went back to being nothing really useful to the great powers. Just a frozen island at the doorstep of a frozen ocean.
So Greenland, this massive Arctic island at the gateway to the Arctic Ocean, is now becoming much more important. That's because this ocean that's always been frozen is melting more and more every year, opening it up to new trade routes, to new resources, to new versions of influence that can be exerted at the top of our planet. And so great powers are once again paying attention to this place.
Because great powers no longer see a desolate frozen island. They see opportunity. They see an island perfectly located.
Seeing the world like this is so weird to me. It's never normal. Like, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I'm so used to seeing the thing. It like freaks me out. Orientalist brain, yeah. I mean, it's not even Orientalist. I think it's like very. This is the Santa-centric model. That's literally Empire think, brother. I know.
Close to new enticing shipping lanes. They see an island with territorial waters full of new resources, whose territorial claims theoretically extend all the way past the North Pole, incidentally overlapping with Russia and Canada. They see the potential of this place being a repository of rare earth elements, the stuff we need to build modern electronics like cell phones, computer hard drives, and electric vehicles.
Suddenly, this place is becoming a lot more valuable in the eyes of people who want power. A fact that was highlighted by a guy who spent his life sniffing out real estate deals on land that was about to become valuable.
Trump wants to buy Greenland.
It's a large real estate deal. So the concept came up, and I said, certainly I'd be strategically, it's interesting.
Yeah, that actually happened. Boy, that was a crazy 4 years. I'm glad it's over.
Donald from a year ago, boy, do I have something to tell you, Donald. Okay? It's back, baby. It's back and better than ever.
Anyway, the point is that Greenland is now getting loads of attention and becoming much more valuable. Which brings me here to perhaps the clearest symbol of this renewed interest in Greenland.
If I'm like an Inuit living in Greenland, I'd be hiding all the minerals. I'd be like, nah, there's no minerals here. Desperately trying to make it seem like there's no natural resources. Please stop. Please stop digging. Please stop digging. There's no oil, no minerals here. Don't come here. Don't come here at all. Okay? It's just ice, bro. You don't want that. I promise. Yeah, I'd be kicking snow over the minerals. Just push some snow onto it. Just brush some snow onto it. Be like, what? Minerals? What are you talking about? Mineral. Get out of here. It's just snow, please. Please leave.
Is the new U.S. consulate in Nuuk. After saying they planned to buy the country, the Trump administration backed down after Denmark was like, hell no, get out of here, and instead took a different approach. They ramped up efforts to build relations between Greenland and the United States, building mutual economic interests, which resulted in the opening of this consulate just in 2020. The U.S. now has a diplomatic presence, a physical presence in Greenland. This big frozen island that no global superpower really thought was that important until recently.
I'm pleased to announce we will reopen our...
Denmark is not giving this away. Are you insane, law, brother? I don't think it's about what Denmark wants or needs. I think if there's enough, I'm sure Iraq didn't want to be invaded either, you know? Now, obviously, Denmark and Iraq are different, but still. Trump's talking about invading Canada and Mexico, man. They're about to find some weapons of mass destruction in Greenland. Oops. Turns out Denmark had chemical weapons. They were using mustard gas on their own civilian population, I promise. Trust.
Our consulate in Nuuk, Greenland this summer for the first time since 1953.
So this actually reminds me of
You're crazy if you think the U.S. will go and just take it. Name a single example where the U.S. didn't respect the wishes of the natives. True. I can't think of any. The only thing that keeps it relatively neutral would be, I guess, the interests of other global power players like China and regional players like Russia as well. That basically is the only thing I think that keeps this in somewhat of a limbo, rather than America coming in and being like, nah, that's ours actually. Is Greenland Sunni or Shiite?
Story I did a while back when I was up in the...
I know this is all, but I had to wait 10 minutes to send this. You have single-handedly convinced me to start nicotine. Thank you, Hassan. Man, shut the fuck up. Don't even joke about that shit, dumbass.
Arctic for Vox Borders, and I was visiting a Russian consulate on this little island. And it truly never ceases to surprise me that in an era of like sophisticated alliances and like international institutions and like sophisticated military weaponry, we still resort to just putting human bodies and buildings in places that we want to have influence in. Like it's a board game. Some things will never change. But as the US looks to deepen its ties with Greenland, so is another power, another global superpower, one that incidentally is nowhere near the Arctic. But who knows that if they want to be the top dog on the world stage, they're gonna need a foothold in this new region.
A race for resources could lead to a boil over.
A lot of focus is placed on the Chinese. They do control a significant amount of supply.
We are so adamant that these areas of the world...
Australians love mining, dude. They can't get enough of it. It's not enough that they've mined the shit out of their own fucking island, that they're mining all around the world. They love mining. They love miners.
Arteries of trade and shipping remain peaceful.
There is a worry of this Chinese possible infiltration in the country.
In 2017, Greenland wanted to build more airports, like the one behind me that they're building. Here in Greenland, they don't have a lot of infrastructure for big airplanes, so you can't get like big commercial flights in and out of large amounts of the country. You have to fly around in small planes and helicopters, which is kind of cool if you're like going on an adventure. But if you're trying to develop your country, you need bigger airports. The problem is building airports is expensive, and no one wanted to fund this, except for China. The Prime Minister of Greenland went to Beijing, their friend, and said, hey, do you want to help us fund our new airports? China was like, yes, we will give you a loan to fund the airports, but it has to be...
I'm Danish. Greenland can decide what they want for themselves according to Denmark. As of the Self-Government Act of 2009, Greenland is effectively self-governed, but Denmark provides free education by making them travel to Denmark and free healthcare. Since this colonial relationship is still problematic and has issues, but even anti-Denmark, Greenlandic people have said they'd rather be under Denmark forever than be under the U.S. Yeah, that makes sense. Wait till American propaganda comes in, though. The only thing that, like, notice how there was a chatter, Delayed Autistic Guppy, that was talking about this yesterday. The colonial relationship within Greenland and Denmark is, like, objectively kept Greenland poor. You will probably see that sort of propaganda resurface over and over again, talking about how like they'll go and they'll find like a group of natives, for example, and they'll pump them, and they'll be like, look, these guys organically want to be a part of America. They hate Denmark. And, Leslie Stahl will do a 60 minutes feature on the native population that desperately wants American contracts and are terrified of the Chinese intervention in the country. And then they'll manufacture consent that way. They'll beef up a separatist movement. You're going to get the most annoying Radlib accounts tweeting about how problematic it is. Yeah. This repressed minority that wants freedom. They yearn for freedom. They want American contracts instantly. And then they'll say, Hassan, why do you personally hate autonomy? Why do you hate the autonomy of native Greenlanders who simply want better American contracts? They want what's best for themselves. Why are you getting in there? Why are you being so paternalistic where you think you know what's best for them? Keep Leslie Stahl out of your mouth. It would be Scott Pelley easy. No, it'll be Leslie Stahl. Now, that is if the Trump administration behaves in a more competent manner like the Democrats have whenever they have any sort of imperial ambitions. The Trump administration, on the other hand, was very ineffective. The State Department was probably at its weakest, I think, under the Trump admin. Like, the Democrats certainly are better at crafting a narrative. Republicans used to be better at this. Like, obviously, the war on terror and the propaganda that ensued in the Bush administration was pretty solid. But since then, I would say that the Democrats have taken over that mantle. And the Trump admin was genuinely ineffective doing this sort of stuff. Like, they are much more openly cruel and don't engage in enough like clandestine operations, no psychological operations whatsoever. They just go and they assassinate. Like, the Qasem Soleimani assassination comes to mind, right? It's the type of shit that I think if done under a democratic leadership, would be done with a lot more manufactured consent. Whereas like under the Trump administration, it's more brute force and more open, where they're just like, yeah, no, we killed them. What are you going to do about it? Or we're pulling our troops out of Syria, except for the oil fields, where they will maintain the oil fields. Why wouldn't we take the Syrian oil? Are you fucking stupid? Like, it's not as tactful. So we'll see how Trump operates. We'll see how Trump navigates this space.
Be a Chinese construction company that builds the airports. And Greenland was like, okay, let's do it. That sounds great. And immediately over...
Where the fuck is China getting so much money? They're dumping a shitload of money into my country, Pakistan, as well. What do you mean, dude? It's the manufacturing hub for the planet.
In the United States, alarm bells start going off. This is not good. The context here is that China has a habit of giving loans to countries that they want to like have influence in, like in the future. They do this a lot in Africa. Like they give loans knowing that they now have leverage over all of these countries who now owe them money. Anyway, so the United States...
Okay, that's once again, infinitely more favorable conditions, a lot more opportunities for loan forgiveness, no immediate austerity, measures kicking in. There's no, just to point out that like, this is, at this point, we've put this to bed, right? No matter how much people say like, well, the Belt and Road Initiative is also Chinese imperialism. Like, how do you not recognize that? And the attitude that people have demonstrated against China engaging in any sort of development initiatives, doing any sort of soft power stuff around the globe has now been put to bed. Foreign Policy Magazine and many other like overtly right-wing pro-empire think tanks have recognized that the debt trap that the IMF and the World Bank have offered the global South is no longer competitive now that the Chinese market, now that there's a new game in town where a lot of these people can personally get infinitely more favorable loans with a lot better conditions from the Chinese government. Something that even those who have a vested interest in the continuation of American empire have come to terms with and want the IMF and World Bank to change its ways.
Sees this potential deal happening between Greenland and China and hates it. Greenland, this place that is so strategically located, that is right next to the United States, that is really a huge part of the future of global influence in the Arctic, suddenly in debt to China? No. In fact, the Pentagon freaked out and was like, what if Greenland defaults on their payments to China and China seizes the airports and starts using it for their military? A little bit of an alarmist, like, doomsday scenario. But it's true, like when you owe someone money, they have leverage over you. The US did not like this. So the US goes to Denmark and tells...
It is very much like projection, I think, to run with that attitude. So far, it has not happened, right? So far, it has not happened. And that is the American position. It's like, well, they will do to us what we've done to them, which is a common perspective throughout history. Slave-owning whites in the antebellum thought that if black people were liberated, that they would enslave white people, that they would enact violence and vengeance against their former masters. Now, history has shown that it's usually those who had the power that seek to continue that domination, to continue to restore the racial pecking order. That's why you have the Ku Klux Klan, and that's what happened in the Reconstruction era. And yet, this is a commonly shared opinion. This is something that Americans broadly believe as well, which is that if China became the dominant hegemonic superpower, they would do to us what we have done to the global South and what we've done to China historically. If they do defaults on payments, what do you think China would do in response? Well, we don't actually have to assume what would happen in this hypothetical. It has happened many times over. China has engaged in loan forgiveness virtually every single time. Here, this is Voice of America news. Like, this is directly coming from the CIA. China cancels 23 loans to Africa amid debt trap debate. It forgave 23 of the 17 loans that it had given to African countries. And the American cope on that front was, oh, it's because they want to still do debt trap stuff, but they just don't want Americans to be they just don't want America to know that they're doing debt trap stuff. I think that part of the reason why they're doing this is because they also want to create secondary markets. They want to keep selling to Africa. And in order to keep selling to Africa, they need to develop Africa, recognizing that there's a need to develop Africa, the African continent. It's still ultimately self-interested, and it's certainly not a consequence of like like some kind of ideological play. You know, they forgave the debts but build military naval bases. Yeah, that's really interesting that you say that, because I think the Chinese military base development in the African continent is literally minuscule in comparison to how many fucking military bases America has in Africa. What are you talking about? There's like what? How many bases exist? How many Chinese bases exist overseas? Yeah, they built their first ever overseas military naval base in 2023 in Djibouti in 2017. Sorry, on 2023, which is if you've watched enough like YouTube foreign policy videos, you understand the significance of Djibouti, where there is also obviously a U.S. base as well. The reason for that is because of its access point into the Red Sea. If you watched a single foreign policy map-based YouTube autism account, you already know that though. Real life lore and the like.
Tells them to kill the deal. Denmark does it. They agree. And suddenly...
Yeah, America has 800 confirmed military bases, like open, out in broad daylight, okay? So China literally has no motivations outside of helping people and is completely magnanimous. Did I say that? Point to where I said that. I said the exact opposite. I said that it's still self-interested. I didn't say that at all. I said the exact opposite. I said that it's still self-interested. They're not even, contrary to like the way that the USSR operated foreign policy, where there was at least some like ideological through line. China doesn't even have that. They're not like operating at the behest of like implementing global socialism either. There is no investment in that regard. It is simply leverage against America's crumbling hegemonic power. And the other reason, I think, and this is suspicion, this is speculation, is because they want to develop secondary markets that they can sell to. Not only are they utilizing America's dominance and colonial history to their advantage as a much more favorable lender, okay, they also... Like, America has been the dominant force on the planet since even before the end of the USSR, but certainly after, right? And in that dominance, in that Western dominance, I think Western superpowers have grown comfortable and have also increased the cruelty in the ways that they subject people into debt traps, okay? Now that there is a competitive superpower, that competitive superpower can basically leverage America's pre-existing cruel conditions to their advantage. This way, they get to develop genuine allegiances with a shit ton of the planet, with massive chunks of the planet, especially in areas that are very resource rich. African countries obviously have rare earth minerals and a shit ton of raw materials necessary specifically for the future of energy. China having more favorable loans and having better relationships with these countries allows them to dominate, specifically in the field of renewable energy. It seems over time China is reacting to government action from the U.S., but I'm asking is when China does eventually take over, it seems like they won't fuck over poor countries the way America does. We don't know. I don't know that. You don't know that either. I'm not going to say that that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't make a broad sweeping claim like that. I'm just simply reacting to what I have seen thus far.
Is now funding 2/3 of these airport projects. China got rejected on these airport deals thanks to US pressure. But they didn't give up. They started setting their sights on those rare earth minerals that we talked about earlier, the vital ingredients for your phone, your computer, and your electric car. China holds a near monopoly on mining and processing these minerals. So they see Greenland as an opportunity to continue that near monopoly, but also an opportunity to access the Arctic, another place where they can compete with Western interests. It started when this Chinese corporation made a deal to fund a zinc and lead mine in the far north of Greenland. It was all going to plan until the Australian owners of this mine suddenly decided to end their deal. Oh, and shortly thereafter, they got a $650 million check from the United States to fund the project. Once again, the US blocked their rival from getting a foothold in the Arctic. Another Chinese company has had their mining licenses revoked entirely by the government of Greenland. So between this diplomatic pressure, as well as some local anti-mining political sentiment, China has been blocked time and time again from getting its foothold on this island.
China's words and actions raise doubts about its intentions. Beijing claims to be a near-Arctic state, yet the shortest distance between China and the Arctic is 900 miles.
So yeah, the USA has made its stance very clear that they don't want China, a non-Arctic nation, to be meddling in this region, to be gaining a foothold in the gateway to the Arctic, this region that is opening up, that is becoming really important.
Yeah, America, on the other hand, has Alaska, so we are an Arctic nation, you know? It is really funny for America to say this. Okay, why the fuck are you in the Middle East then, dog? Are you a Middle Eastern nation? Why are you in the South China Sea? What do you mean? Where is America not in? Okay? There is not a singular solitary place on this fucking planet that America doesn't have its tentacles in. Like, what are we talking about? It's just a little bit of self-reflection, I think, is necessary in this process, but I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
And in addition to blocking China's efforts, the US has also stepped up their own efforts to get more US influence and presence in this place, to prepare for the future of geopolitical conflict. The US is doing investments on its own, investing billions of dollars in military infrastructure in this region, including a $4 billion upgrade of that air and space installation in the north. They're also committing to military training exercise within the Arctic. The US Army has been sending their soldiers to train in Arctic-like conditions, to mimic what conflict might look and feel like in the high north. The US government is offering millions of dollars in aid directly to Greenland to help them develop their mining and tourism sectors. So yeah, once again, we see the struggle for influence playing out between great powers in all of these kind of hard-to-see battlefields. Loans, infrastructure, blocking trade deals, diplomatic pressure, military presence. This is kind of the flavor of modern conflict. I mean, not the Russian flavor of modern conflict, but like the great powers conflict plays out in these other ways, these hard-to-see ways, these bureaucratic, systematic ways. But who cares about these big superpowers and what they want for Greenland? I came to the capital Nuuk to talk to my friend Kupanuk about what Greenlanders actually want. After all, this is their island. They should decide how it's used and by whom.
So we are not just looking the Western world through Denmark anymore, but we'll see more globally. So we're starting to realize more and more how lucky we actually are.
That's super interesting. It turns out that about half of Greenlanders actually think it's a good thing that China is increasing in its power and influence around the globe. But when you ask them specifically...
Shut it down. Shut it down. Johnny, don't say that. Johnny, you're supposed to do the opposite. Johnny!
About China investing in Greenland, they're more hesitant, with nearly 70% saying that they oppose
thank God.
foreign...
Okay, thank God. Okay. No. He's good. He saved. Okay, we're safe. I was worried for a second that his contract was going to dry up, saying stuff like, "Oh, well, half of the island natives are pro China, but 70% of them hate Chinese investment."
Foreign investment from China. But a country like Greenland, which has such a fraught history with colonizers, also has reservations about Western interests here too.
And a lot of injustices have been and are still being done in colonial and decolonial nations. More and more things are just being shown now because people are more aware of their rights. and more aware of the rights that are being violated.
So Greenlanders are waking up to their power in this situation, waking up to the leverage that they have in this new global competition. And while they might have their concerns about China and the West, they're looking for the best deal for their country.
The first ones must be our closest friends and like.
Where is the other? Why didn't he mention what level of what percentage of Greenlanders love American investment? I'm sure it's significant. It's like 98% of Greenlanders actually want American investment, famously. So things that the wokes don't want you to know or hear about.
Minded nations. And then if other countries want to invest in Greenland and in our way, we are open for business.
So as we move into this new era of great power competition, the map is changing in unexpected ways. Add to that the warming globe that is creating a new ocean, and suddenly this island, so often forgotten by great powers, is now in a position of leverage.
There are many Greenlandic people who haven't realized how powerful we can be, how much is like...
And the Balkans wanted American investment so fucking bad, dude, and they gave us neoliberalism, GG. Yeah, but it's good. McDonald's.
I don't know how small Denmark is without Greenland. It's like, it's just a tiny, tiny country if they didn't have us. We should be more aware of it and be more proud of it and realize how powerful we can actually be in the future.
No, they don't classify Greenland as a state sponsor of terror. What they would do is just go to they would go to a group of people that live there and then turn around and say they hate Denmark, they hate the way that Denmark has managed Greenland, and they would say that these guys actually also are very skeptical of China and don't want Chinese intervention in their country, and that they want American they're much more favorable to American investments in the country. That's the way I would cut propaganda. I'd say that the way to do this would be saying that they hate Chinese investment, they're skeptical of Chinese investment, and that they actually are very open to American investment. In fact, McDonald's failed in my Balkan city, ate only local barbecue and meat law, still fighting it. Yeah, a concerned citizens group, NGOs start popping up left and right, you know. I is ready for her flight movie and Peanuts. Also, brief update, but the BBC finally acknowledges it misled viewers when it used video showing fans from Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv attacking people on the street, whilst implying Israeli fans were the victims in the video. During an interview on, what is this? Help and feedback, corrections and clarifications. This came on the 23rd of December. Okay? Like yesterday. They came out and apologized for their 8th of November coverage. During an interview on Newsline with an Israeli fan about disorder after a football match between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax in Amsterdam, we used stills and footage from the night to accompany the conversation. This included footage shot near the Amsterdam Central Station, appearing to show a large group chasing and attacking an individual. However, the author of the clip said separately on social media she had filmed Maccabi supporters attacking a Dutch man, and so its inclusion during this segment and some previous use when reporting the reaction to the disorder on the BBC News channel could have given the impression that this was illustrating attacks on Israeli fans. We acknowledge that we should have been clearer about the context and that the use of the footage here was intended to illustrate the general disorder and are happy to correct the record. They're happy to correct the record like months later. I mean, that's crazy. That actually is so indecent. Really shameful that it took us so long, considering most of us knew immediately. Seemed like they wanted us to forget. Yeah. It's wild because the person that was like, that's my footage, you're saying the exact opposite of what the truth is. That was literally given to the BBC and anyone else that could hear the truth the day of. The ADL yelled even a month later about my coverage of what actually took place. Okay? Remember when... Why the fuck am I reading news that says they are charging Amsterdam residents with attacking football fans? What? Hey, I'm having a real time paying for my subscription. Is it a problem on my end? Are you broke? Is that what it is? Broke boy? I'm just kidding. And people like us got shit this whole time for being anti-Semitic, and nobody will bother to apologize or even see this update. Yeah, the ADL is still tweeting about the Amsterdam pogrom. While it's important the perpetrators of the Amsterdam pogrom were quickly identified, we're concerned that despite the gravity of the attack, their sentences were relatively lenient. That's crazy. Actually crazy. Anyway, I want to watch this honey influencer scam, but let's see what else Trump has been doing.
So Donald Trump spent the weekend adding to his...
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even want to talk about Canada.
The man accused of killing United
Luigi Mangione
Healthcare
pled not
CEO
guilty
returned to
yesterday. People have reacted to it. Let's take a look at how the media is covering it while I go pee.
Yesterday and pleaded not guilty
and then we'll
to
do the
state
honey
charges
video.
of murder and terrorism. Luigi Mangione was led into that hearing in New York with his hands shackled to his waist. His lawyer accused authorities of treating this case as a spectacle and making it political. Lilia Luciano was also in the court for the hearing. She's covered this case since Mangione was arrested in Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Vlad. Well, inside the courtroom, Mangione spoke publicly only 2 words yesterday, but seemed to have lengthy and focused discussions with his team of attorneys.
Luigi Mangione pleaded not guilty Monday to 11 charges, including first-degree murder as an act of terrorism for the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. During Monday's arraignment, Mangione's lawyers accused state and federal authorities of using the 26-year-old as political fodder, as he also faces 4 federal charges, including stalking and murder, which could carry the possibility of the death penalty.
He's a young man, and he is being treated like a human ping pong ball between 2 warring jurisdictions here.
The defense also raised concerns about Mangione's right to a fair trial, referencing comments by public officials and Mangione's high-profile extradition to New York City last week.
He was on display for everyone to see in the biggest staged perp walk I've ever seen in my career.
Prosecutors vowed to stay in bounds and alleged the evidence against Mangione is overwhelming, citing hours of interviews and thousands of videos.
I have never seen a case with such volume of evidence, aside from the issue of the quality of the evidence.
Authorities said the 2 cases will proceed on parallel tracks.
The defense attorney has said that what happened last week could potentially pollute the jury pool and that officials are playing politics. How could this affect a trial?
There's no question that anything in a famous or an infamous case can potentially pollute a jury pool. However, when it comes time to pick a jury, which may be a year from now, that the judge will help the lawyers ferret out those who have been affected by alleged prejudicial pretrial publicity.
The judge has said while he has little control over what happens outside the courtroom and with those officials like Mayor Eric Adams, he will guarantee Mangione gets a fair trial. His next appearance in this state case, the criminal case, is at the end of February. We might see him before in January for the federal one.
Wow. So what Ricky Kleeman told you was sort of interesting about what could potentially happen when it comes to the jury.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the jury, it's complicated because a lot of people are resonating perhaps with the issues around the health insurance industry. That's already a problem. And it's so highly publicized that, you know, it's going to be very hard to find people who are not connected to this. And I'm seeing on social media a lot of support.
Yeah, good luck finding people who have not been fucked over by healthcare, too. I'm just saying.
Everybody has a doctor. Everybody's been through the healthcare.
Are you going to box Unc? No. Let's do Tyler Oliveira first, and then we'll move on to Honey.
Tyler Oliveira, YouTuber turned investigative journalist.
By go to the show, friend of the show, Vince Vintage, who delivered us a Christmas miracle. I have been talking to a lot of YouTubers that have noticed Tyler Oliveira's like incredibly fucking right-wing content. So it's cool that other people are also taking notice of this.
With 7 million subscribers, Tyler's had quite a bit of impact on the world, with hit videos such as cat-eating Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, or neo-Nazis uprising in Germany. His investigative work into
neo-Nazis in air quotes
hot-button political situations reaches hundreds of millions of people. Now, while Tyler claims his videos raise awareness of the problems in our world,
we are informing people about current events, topics that the broader public needs to be aware of.
And that he's YouTubified news and journalism.
We've YouTubified traditional news and documentarian content.
And while his fans state that Tyler's one of the greatest journalists of our time, that he's unbiased, a searcher for the truth, I'm here to tell you today that this is all a big lie. In my opinion, Tyler pushes hoaxes for truth, dehumanizes people for clicks and views, and manufactures fake videos to sell to hundreds of millions of people as hard-hitting journalism. In my opinion, Tyler only throws gasoline on the problems in America, all in the name to get clicks and views. Today, we are going to expose who Tyler Oliveira really is. Because whether you're left-leaning, right-leaning, you like Tyler, you hate him, I think everyone can agree that a lie is bad. And when those lies are pushed to hundreds of millions of people as the...
XC watched the George Floyd murder. That was so disgusting for me. Even a lot of his chat shat on him, but there was a lot that were spamming base, especially in his YouTube comments. Yeah. YouTube has turned incredibly right. I mean, YouTube was always incredibly right-wing. There was a period where they like tried to tackle it a little bit, and it's back. It's super back, and it's supercharged. The problem is that there is a massive... There is there's just like a massive orbit of other content creators, like secondary content creators, secondary markets that like react to Tyler Oliveira videos, and oftentimes don't have the proper tools to address what they are seeing, because Tyler Oliveira Mr. Beastifies these like political these political issues, okay, and presents it as though it is totally neutral. Obviously, the first moment that I saw these fucking AI made thumbnails, I was like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. And I've been talking about this stuff for quite a bit, but clearly other people are oblivious to the right-wing nature of this propaganda.
The unbiased truth, I would say there's a little bit more than just a problem. Now, normally I don't make exposed videos, but after me and Tyler got into a little Twitter spat, it led me down a rabbit hole of his content that I thought was so twisted and sick that I thought the entire world should know about it. And I'm so surprised that all of this stuff I'm going to talk about has never been mentioned before online. Now, I'm not going to talk about Tyler's drama with Soft White Underbelly, Brent Riviera, the Las Vegas Tunnel people. Everything in this video is newfound stuff that I've discovered over the past 4 or 5 months. So, before we get going, Tyler, I am not trying to cancel you.
I dream of people come for the cancellation. Bring it. Please cancel me. Please.
I'm not trying to take you off the platform. I'm not even going to call you a racist, a Hitler, Tyler Oliveira.
I think when you start throwing around the R word, the conversation becomes a lot more...
I will.
I'm just going to call you for what you really are, a liar. So today, let's discover who Tyler Oliveira really is.
Chat is so funny because they're like, oh, well, he's being a lib. It's like, no, dude, this is effective. Like, what are you talking about? And it might be his own personal perspective. Okay, calm down. I think a lot of you forget that it's important for people to be introduced to what Tyler is doing from the perspective of someone who is otherwise unbiased. Okay, that you're being silly. Okay. You're not putting yourself in the mind of an average normie who like encounters these 7 million, 10 million viewed YouTube videos that doesn't understand that it's like right-wing shit slop filled to the brim with fucking lies. Okay?
Now, Tyler's journalism consists of him going into hot-button political situations, talking to both sides, and always coming to the conclusion that whatever city he's in, it's ending all of a sudden, that it's the worst place he's ever seen. Now, these videos are seen by hundreds of millions of people. People actually take these in for journalism. But this is all just a facade. Now, let's go to his video, Oakland, where every crime is legal. Now, this video consists of Tyler going to Oakland, California, talking all about the car break-ins and how they've gone up 50 million% or whatever it is.
This is Oakland, California.
The owner of this property is not responsible for any theft or vandalism. The owner of this property.
Lawlessness, crime, homelessness, police giving up.
And the whole video essentially boils down to, if you come to Oakland, your car will get broken into. So just keep that in mind. Now, in the beginning of the video, we see Tyler at a gas station, and we can hear overhead this audio playing.
The owner of this property is not responsible for any...
Now, if you're at a gas station and they're playing that overhead, it's got to be pretty bad with the car break-ins. So we see Tyler vlogging around, and then we see the next shot of this Kia. And if we look on the dash, you can see a PS5 with the PS5 controller. Why would someone leave a PS5 on their dash at the gas station where they're overhead playing? Your car is going to get broken into. But let's continue on. Now, in the next shot, we see the same Kia. And if we look on the dash, we can see that same PS5 and the controller. Now, why would Tyler be filming this from far away? Maybe Tyler was trying to bait someone into breaking into this car. That seems like a crazy theory. How could we know that that's Tyler's car? Well, Later on in this video, Tyler gets a parking ticket.
While the police may not do anything if you break into someone's car, commit grand theft auto, steal an ATM, or beat and rob an old lady on the street, if you park on the side of the street and don't pay the meter, you will be fined and punished. We got a $61 parking ticket.
And he complains that, wow, people could break into cars and do drugs, but
No.
I get a parking ticket.
Is that his own
if you look
car?
at that parking ticket.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. That is, oh my God. This motherfucker is the police, dude. That's crazy. Oh my God. Look at the license plate. What a dumbass. He put that in.
A little closer, we could see it's the same license plate that is on the car at the gas station. So Tyler went to the store, bought a PS5, put it on the dash, left his car out, and hid out in a little bush trying to capture someone breaking into his car. Tyler is baiting someone into breaking into his car to try to capture it on footage. Because
also, I mean, he literally put the PlayStation 5 on his dash. Like, who the fuck would put the PlayStation 5 on their dashboard when they're just simply getting gas?
What would make the ultimate footage for Tyler? Oh my God, I went to Oakland, California, and the break-ins are so bad that my car got broken into. And clearly, no one broke into it, because who would be dumb enough? Clearly looks like some like cop sting operation shit. This is like levels of like faking a prank video times 10. But when you're trying to pass this off as actual news footage, on the ground journalism, I would say that's not something a truthful journalist would do. And after catching this right here.
Did you think Tyler did shit like this? I didn't think he would put this much effort into staging stuff. I think he's just like, he goes there, he links up. I know what the method is. You go there, you interview as many people as possible. You take some of the craziest fucking sound bites. You put the craziest sound bites that correspond to the right-wing narrative on there. Pepper in a little bit of like normal takes as well, so you can still maintain the veneer of objectivity. Then the guy, the local handler that you have, is like straight up Hitler, right? It's almost always like a guy who he brings on as a local reporter, and then you look up the local reporter's name and it's like there's 11 articles about how he got fired from the local news outlet that he used to work at for raping women or some shit, right? And then he now runs a blog where he thinks that he believes that like homeless people are responsible for the Democratic Party's QAnon, a deep state pedophilia, sex trafficking, and then slap on a guy that is also like a local leader. The local leader is almost always some fucking insanely right-wing guy as well. And there you go. It's literally that old school prank YouTuber who did this MAGA car in the hood video. Yeah, it's Joey drinks his own piss. Joey Salads, right? Wasn't that his name?
It really made...
And it's really funny because like independent journalists love talking about how mainstream media is fucked up. How is this any different than fucking Clarissa Ward? Everybody loves shitting on CNN and being like, oh, remember when Clarissa Ward like staged that guy or did the prison break-in for the one fucking Syrian prisoner that should have stayed in prison? That's literally what Tyler is doing every fucking video. And the same people that despise mainstream news for doing that sort of shit turn around and eat this garbage up and go, this is objective, this is real independent journalism.
Made me think, could I seriously trust anything in Tyler's videos? Is this something that a investigative journalist would do, leave a PS5 in one of the highest car breaking areas in the fucking country? I don't think so. Like, what the fuck? Like, and Tyler still used this footage. That's what blows my mind. And didn't think anyone would find this. Like, look at that. It is a PS5 combo package deal with a controller on the dash. How fucking dumb are you? Like, Tyler went to Best Buy and was considering, like, should I just get the PS5? No, I should get the PS5 and the controller. Someone would definitely break into a car for the controller as well. So, throughout the rest of this video, just think about this. This is how far Tyler's willing to go to make a good story.
We've YouTubified traditional news and documentarian content, basically.
You bought the controller. Why would you buy the controller as well? So let's go to Tyler's video, Oakland, where every crime is legal. Now, Tyler's videos start out with him flying to the place, checking it out, talking.
How is this type of reporting not illegal? Like, it's blatantly lying to the public. Brother, what are you talking about? It's not illegal to lie. The most popular news broadcasts in the country on network television are serial liars. Fox News. Fox News is defended that it's not real news broadcasting, but simply entertainment in courts to defend themselves when they were caught openly lying.
On the both sides, and he'll intersperse news clips or relevant news footage of these events happening in that city.
With 1 of every 30 residents having their car stolen last year, a 38% increase in robberies, 23% increase in burglaries, and 44% increase in motor vehicle theft.
Because frankly, when Tyler goes to these places, it's not as bad as he always wants it to be. So by Tyler showing all these news clips, it could seem way worse than what it really is. Now, Tyler is passing this along as actual information, that this is
Again, classic Hasanabi take is that lying is so legal in the United States that they call it something else when you legally lie.
Actually how the city is. Now, these news clips are always from the city that Tyler's in, or are they? In this Oakland video, Tyler brings along this prestigious reporter.
Yeah, he does this shit all the time too. He just peppers in
Bay Area native
irrelevant.
and investigative journalist Darren Stalcup to hit the.
Let's see if the Tyler method that I presented to you seems correct. Now, I don't know anything about this guy. Let's see.
And see what's really going on in Oakland.
Tyler shows clips of him going on Fox News, that he's been all around town investigating the homeless crisis within Oakland, California. Now, this guy isn't a journalist. He's actually a used car salesman who pulled a $7,000 GoFundMe scam a couple months earlier.
I talk a lot about right-wing grifters in my videos, but this week Fox hosted one that was so lazy. I'm honestly kind of impressed. This guy, Darren Mark Stalcup, is trying to raise $10,000 to move from the Tenderloin neighborhood of San Francisco to another neighborhood in San Francisco.
I'm currently looking at the Chinatown neighborhood, but I'm open to other districts as well.
And it's actually working. I looked into this guy a little more, and he has another GoFundMe also for $10,000, but this one is trying to achieve world peace. So either world peace is like a lot cheaper than I thought, or, and far more likely, he just wants $10,000.
But let's continue on. So the used car salesman's riding around with Tyler, and all of a sudden he brings up how he's seen kids as young as 7 years old walking around with guns in Oakland. Now that sounds pretty wild. Tyler then shows this news clip on screen.
I don't know why we're being followed when there's no doubt criminal activity left, right, and center.
A lot of the kids have guns now, so when I'm walking around, I'm not looking for some 25-year-old guy with a gun. I'm looking for 7-year-olds with guns.
So when the reporter brings up kids with guns in Oakland, Tyler intersplices a news clip of a teen in trouble that we're led to believe is from Oakland. Because frankly, Tyler doesn't see the kids with guns, so he's got to show news clips to prove that this is actually happening. But what if I was to tell you that this news clip he shows as evidence isn't from Oakland, but from Miami, Florida, 2
baby with a blicky
years ago? But Tyler passes it off as this is what's happening in Oakland. Even though we can't see the kids with guns, we'll just take his word for it. Teen in trouble. Sounds really bad. But let's continue on. Maybe this is just a little mistake. So Tyler and Darren are talking to a business owner, and they bring up all of the machine guns that are in Oakland, and that's why crime is up. It is so horrible up there. Oakland is so bad that people...
Hi, just joined. Just want to say that your listeners include us. We don't join because you don't talk to us, but I got here to say that we are listening. Talk to us too. You should speak to us too. We need the message. What? Who is us? What are you saying? Account created 13 minutes ago, following since 11 minutes ago. What the fuck? I need to know. Older people like me. Thank you.
People have machine guns and they're walking around.
It's crazy that in my mind, there's a grandmother behind that account, and they're on their like 11th sock account that...
Mind you, it's California. Like, the gun laws are insane here. And then Tyler shows this clip. A scary black man with machine gun manhunt in the corner.
I believe it's necessary for law-abiding citizens to have the means and capability to defend themselves. As you know, all the criminals out here have guns, so I have no problem with you. And I actually feel safer.
Machine guns?
And we're led to believe this is actually happening in Oakland. But this clip isn't from Oakland. It's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Once again, Tyler is literally making shit up to push a narrative. And this is in nearly every video Tyler releases. Let's go to Tyler's video where he goes to Memphis, the most violent city in America. In the beginning, Tyler shows this clip of two scary black men robbing a car in a gas station, and we're led to believe this is from Memphis.
This is Memphis, the most violent city in America.
But it's not. It's from Chicago PD, and Tyler even goes out of his way to cut out the Chicago PD in the upper left-hand corner. So Tyler deliberately knew what he was doing. Now, normally I wouldn't really care about this type of thing, but Tyler is using all of these violent images and video to pass off a narrative that these places that he visits are so horrible. And it's really being used to just make up shit about the city, because frankly, it's not as bad as he wants it to be. And when you're at the point of having to use random news footage to sell off this narrative, I would say that's not really the unbiased truth or investigative journalism. But it doesn't end there with Tyler. In his video, I investigated the gun violence capital of America, aka Chicago, Tyler shows this clip.
This investigation is whack. All he's proving is that Tyler is not a geography major. This is a good one. Respect. I agree. Yeah. Who could, excuse me, it's really messed up. Anyone could confuse news footage from Chicago with news footage from Memphis, okay? Really messed up.
When the man's talking about petty theft in Chicago.
But all the crime down here is just like petty theft, breaking into cars, go to certain neighborhoods.
Now, petty theft is non-violent theft that is under $500.
Unintelligent person alive.
It isn't some burglary or mugging or whatever. But while this guy's talking about petty theft, Tyler then shows this clip to almost disprove the guy. Like, wow, he's talking about petty theft, but clearly there's 4 black men robbing a car in the middle of Chicago. That sounds pretty wild. But once again, this clip isn't from Chicago. It's from Houston, Texas, 4 years ago. I can do this all day long. Tyler makes up shit to fit his narrative. And when that narrative is being used as the unbiased truth or journalism, I would say that's pretty bad, in my opinion. But let's just continue on. Or let's go to Tyler's video. I investigated the murder capital of America, New Orleans. Now, Tyler's talking about living a life of crime, and he shows this clip on screen.
A lot of people die due to gun violence. With murders happening every day, countless kids are left without strong parental figures, get raised by the streets, live a life of crime, have a few...
Wow, a black man just shooting someone in the middle of the day?
Bro,
oh my God,
New York.
New Orleans.
It literally says New York right there.
Is absolutely horrible. But that clip literally says it's from New York. That is how lazy Tyler is with this content. He is just taking random violent imagery, putting it in his videos, and trying to sell it off as this is the truth.
Our goal is simply to educate, inform, and entertain, and hopefully do all 3 at once. We're boots on the ground, as they say, balls deep, trenches thick.
Is this really what a journalist would do? Let's go to Tyler's Sweden video. Sweden, inside the country that pays immigrants $34,000 to leave.
The video that we're watching, ripping Tyler a new one, is Vince Vintage.
And in this video, Tyler's interviewing a Muslim activist, and Tyler asked the question, is Islam's values maybe not compatible with Sweden?
Islam conflict with Swedish society and Swedish law.
And while the lady goes into Islam and all these other countries, but when Tyler goes to the part of her talking about Islam in Sweden, Tyler shows this video on screen.
The way someone see Islam in Afghanistan or in Somalia or in Iran or in Sweden is obviously different.
And we're led to believe, wow, while this lady is talking about Islam being peaceful, they are protesting, oh my God, and there's an ISIS flag. Clearly that isn't just a peaceful protest that they have ISIS flags in Sweden. But once again, this clip isn't from Sweden. It's from motherfucking Malaysia. You do this all goddamn day long, Tyler. It's nearly in all of your videos. You are passing this off as the truth. Because frankly, when Tyler goes to these places, it's not as bad as he wants it to be.
Just trying to get like some views on social media. So do you have some idea, or do you want to get detained for obstruction?
I mean, you can detain me, but am I under arrest? And if so, for what charges?
Oh my God. Explore with us got the body camera footage of Tyler Oliveira getting fucking arrested and behaving like a sovereign citizen. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Mr. Audit the audit ass motherfucker over here. Oh, he's doing... Excuse me, am I being detained?
Harassment.
You're gonna arrest me right now?
Said you're being detained, sir.
Whoa. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Are you gonna identify yourself or not?
Okay, I'm on public property.
Are you gonna identify
You
yes
can't
or
strong arm me.
yes or no?
We're going to court over this if you want.
And once again, I would just, let me be clear. Is this what a really thorough investigative journalist would do? Be so lazy with the content that they make that they're just throwing in random news clips of, as we've seen right now, only black guys committing crimes, all to amplify the video and make it seem as horrible as
When predators, EWU, when predators call the cops on a YouTuber.
And he just kept trying to say, hey, well, we're going to sell you candy. You can't be here to sell candy and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
Oh, is this like the pedophile community or whatever? 9 counts of possessing child pornography, 1 count of computer solicitation. Did he go to like a pedophile community or whatever? Like there's places like that in America, chat, where people who have done horrific crimes in the past will not be able to live, in certain neighborhoods, so they just like build pedophile neighborhoods, also known as Mar-a-Lago. Get it? Anyway, yeah, they can't like purchase property or rent property in certain neighborhoods, so they just sometimes move to Florida. But if they can't move to Florida, there's like neighborhoods that they live in together with a bunch of other diddlers.
Solicitation of a child, but a case that really dominates his criminal history has a closer connection with selling candy bars than subscribe profile on Miracle Village, a community in Palm Beach County, Florida that's also home to a large population of offenders. On the morning of March 27, 2024, when Tyler Oliveira visits this trailer park to make yet another viral video, things take a horrible turn in a direction nobody could have anticipated.
What is this? So they're like, yeah, they're all sex offenders. They're living in this like neighborhood. Tyler Oliveira goes there, annoys them, so they call the cops on Tyler Oliveira.
You made contact with them, and what happened?
And
let them fight. Let them fight.
He just kept trying to say, hey, well, we're going to sell you candy. I said, you're not, like on the phone, I was saying, it's wrong. You can't be here to sell candy and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know that. Well, you're offenders. Okay, so what's your point?
Right.
Indeed, this isn't just about Charles, but a reality of every resident of the mobile home park as a whole. Starting in 2007, a group called Florida Justice Transitions has largely operated the park to provide housing to people who were on the offender list. Palace Mobile Home Park was often frequented by visitors who were curious to find out more about it. Charles tells the police that he has caught just such a person on video.
Cops are already on the way. Are you?
The thing that's like really annoying about this sort of shit is that you can't even be like, dude, yeah, don't go and fucking annoy these people, right? That have done their time, because the crime is so horrific that most people will be like, why are you defending pedophiles? Because they just have like no comprehension whatsoever. You know what I mean? Where it's one of those situations where it's like, this is why so many of the worst people that you know are constantly like, I'm doing pedophile hunting or whatever the fuck. Right? Because everyone objectively understands that these people are bad. Okay, they're evil. It's the closest you can get to like pure. It's the closest you can get to like pure evil, right? Well, they still got to live somewhere, and it seems like one of these 501c3s have created a fucking trailer park for them, so that they could just like live their pedophile lives. Why would you want to go there? I mean, I think that there is a reasonable. You could definitely do like a reasonable like news bit on something like this. It's just that Tyler Oliveira has never invested in honest and straightforward reporting or documenting the way that people live. He's just invested in the content. So he's just gonna go there and be like I'm surprised he didn't bring a child there. You know what I mean? And been like, ooh, look at this young boy. He's by himself. He should try to do a bait car, but with a child. Yeah, Louis Theroux would be a great example of like how a person with genuine curiosity would be able to cover something like this. You know what I mean? Whereas he's over here baiting.
So the other guy in the car just kept taking pictures the whole time.
Yeah.
It's wrong to come in here and attack the guys like this.
They've never been here before. Okay.
Charles continues to bring the officer up to speed from the events of the day. He further clarifies why the residents made note of this particular visitor.
Which kind of scary.
He's like, leave a child cooking on the dashboard. Or Oliveira be like, hey, let's get a bait child, put him on the dashboard, let him cook. Okay, let's continue.
It's possible.
I'm just saying that he'll probably try to attack Vince and be like, I got arrested for documenting pedophiles. Like, he's gonna fucking say that. Why are you defending pedophiles? I got arrested for trying to show the truth about pedophiles. It's like, no, dude, you somehow arrived at a position where you're like so fucking annoying that you've annoyed the pedophiles, okay? You annoyed the pedophiles in the pedophile community. It's almost so that you got the cops siding with the pedophiles over you, okay? Imagine how fucked up that situation must be. Imagine how bad your vibes are that the cops are like, yeah, we're going to defend the pedophile community over you because you have somehow found yourself to be the bad guy here, okay? Like, that's insane. I mean, that's an impressive feat, to be honest.
Is that what a journalist would do? I don't think so. Now, I know Tyler is intentionally doing this because I've back-checked a lot of his videos, and a lot of the news clips are from the city that Tyler's in. And these are just...
Yeah. The pedophile community was like, bro, your vibes are fucked. I'm not gonna lie. Dude, that is crazy.
just a few of the examples that I found. But trust me, it takes a hell of a lot of time trying to back source like where these news clips are from, especially when Tyler doesn't show the title or link any sources in his videos. So this is just a few that I found. I can't even imagine how many more there are. Beyond using random news clips as actual evidence of all of these cities...
Brother, what the fuck is the pedophile community? Registered sex offenders have a hard time with home ownership or renting for obvious reasons, considering that they're usually on a sex offender registry. This is the reason why some organizations that focus on rehabilitative justice will try to build communities specifically for them away from schools and other places that they're not supposed to be around. Because at the end of the day, when you serve your fucking crime, when you serve time for the crimes, the heinous crimes, no matter how heinous they are, that have been committed, you still need to live somewhere. They try to find a place for them to relocate to. And there are probably I mean, I haven't investigated this matter any further, but I suspect that there are probably some decent reasons for why they do that. The decent reasons being that it reduces the likelihood of people to reoffend. It allows them to also check in with their parole officers, things of that nature, so they can continue being, so they're not traveling around too much. You know, it's not like, I don't think that they do it so that like the pedophiles can become stronger by joining up in arms and figure out new methods of accruing CSAM or whatever. What? So homeless is a worse crime than sex offenders because they can't? No, this is like, these are, I think that homeless people should also have these sorts of like relocation initiatives as well. And there are plenty of groups that try to create alternatives.
Falling apart. What about the other lies Tyler has in his videos? Now let's go to his one video. Tyler investigates the murder capital of the world, Jamaica. Now Tyler makes it a point that it is so dangerous here. It's the murder capital of the world.
This is Jamaica, the murder capital of the world.
That's a big old knife.
So he has to hire a local guide to protect him and show him around. Now, walking around the town, Tyler says this.
I'm going over the farm?
The farm, that is our farm.
Right over there.
Yeah, we can go over there, come.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed. But it turns out, this guy was giving me a full tour of the community with unexpected hospitality.
All right, we're visiting the garden right now. A little baby young mango. Is this where you make the juice?
So I'm thinking, oh my God, Tyler's gonna get murdered. Tyler's in the murder capital of the world without his guide. Oh my God, he's gonna die. He's gonna get robbed. Seems pretty bad. But let's watch.
Yeah, it's also easier to track these people and keep tabs on whether they're reoffending when you have the address of a stable residence rather than the woods they camp out in.
This interaction from a different angle.
Is this where you make the juice?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, that's Tyler's cameraman. That's clearly the same thing going on. Where's this camera angle from? Oh, it's almost like his guide was right there and took this footage, but Tyler had to sell it off is that his guide was nowhere to be seen and that Tyler was gonna get murdered.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed.
Tyler's guide posted a 2-hour-long vlog of their entire day, and the guide was there the entire time. Tyler wasn't walking on his own about to get murdered. That was all just made up.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed.
And this is just something where it's so small. But why do you have to lie about this? I walked around on my own in the murder capital of the world. Like, really, Tyler's dissing the guy that he's doing a horrible job and just left and disappeared. But he's right there. He is right there filming this footage from a different angle. You were literally just making shit up to just sell a narrative. That this place is absolutely the most despicable thing you've ever seen. Now, if he's willing to lie about something so small like this, to just really just amplify the violence and the crime in here, when he clearly doesn't see it around him.
So he's racist? Whoa, can we just call him that in this video? Impossible challenge? GamerGirl24, maybe understand that you are not the target demographic for this. If you're in this community, you're probably already very familiar with dog whistles, racism, white supremacy, and even Tyler Oliveira, who channels a lot of those things in most of his content. Recognize that maybe not every YouTube video that we watch is directed towards you, and maybe for a much broader audience that would immediately fucking say Vince Vintage is a woke libtard. It seems like he's biased. It seems like he's biased against Tyler Oliveira because he's woke and a liberal. You know, let's just watch. I think covering this video from the angle of how serially Tyler Oliveira lies, which is like a neutral language to use, is the appropriate way to do it, especially for the broadest audience, especially when Tyler Oliveira presents himself as a neutral, objective journalist. He literally said this topic was never talked about on the internet, even though you pointed it out months ago. Yeah, I've been talking about Tyler Oliveira. Boy has also talked about Tyler Oliveira as well. But as far as I understand, with the exception of like me, Boy, and that one other content creator, the smaller content creator that we watched before, many people are oblivious to the ways in which Tyler Oliveira operates.
What else would Tyler lie about? Now, later on in this video, Tyler's walking around Jamaica in a clearly peaceful looking town, and he's asking all of these people, how bad is the crime here? Am I gonna die if I walk around here? And clearly
Saji Sharma.
No one's buying into it.
Think we'll die today?
No, not today.
Not today?
Not today. Today's not good.
That's not what he wants to hear. He has to amplify the violence and the crime of where he's at. So while Tyler's looking around, he sees this truck and he says this.
This is what you're talking about. There's bullet holes on that thing. We saw a beryllium truck. That's the equivalent of one of the trucks in the U.S. that carries the cash, which means that someone's probably planning to steal from it right now.
So there's bullet holes on the truck, and that means someone's planning to steal it right now.
There's bullet holes on that thing, which means that someone's probably planning to steal from it right now.
That's how bad it is. People are robbing the cars. They're robbing the bank cars. That's how bad it is here. But let's look at that car a little bit closer. Oh, wow, it looks like it was just kind of scratched. Now, I had to look in this a little bit more. The company that owns this is called Beryllium, and Beryllium just bought out a company called Guardsman. Guardsman, they're all based in Jamaica, has red trucks. So would it really be that the car shot up with bullet holes and they're continuing to use it? Or that the car was red, they wrapped it black, and the car scraped against something and now it's there? Why do you have to lie about that? Why do you have to make up this insane narrative? Oh my God, there was a robbery in place and I was about to... That didn't happen, Tyler. This is all he does in his videos. He goes around and he preponders at the crime in all of these horrible cities that he visits.
And then when there isn't crime, he just creates the feeling that there is crime about. And when he can't create the feeling that there is crime about, then he basically just like tries to create crime, like setting up a bait car, shit like that.
Is that really journalism? Is that really this unbiased truth that you tell? Like these people in this video, the tour guide that you're with, he's just trying to live his life. He's trying to do better. But you come into his country.
That's why I really appreciate a lot of the travel vloggers, like, what is his name? Drew Binsky. Someone also brought him up. Like, travel vloggers on YouTube that go to these places, impoverished nations, and actually shows, like, the day-to-day existence and the beauty that exists in every other country. I really appreciate. Like, it's basically the reverse of what Tyler is doing here. You know what I mean? That's why I also like Speed when he does stuff like that, where he highlights some of the cool aspects of a country that he's visiting.
And just absolutely shit on it for like 40 minutes. It's disgusting. I don't know how you could do that. In this guide, if you go on his YouTube channel, all of the comments from underneath his video where he hung out with you, Tyler, for 2 hours are like, I don't trust this guy. This guy's a...
Don't let this Tyler guy fool you. Watch out for him. He's not genuine. Oh, he liked it too. Jamaica walk by. Please don't work with this boy no more because you helping him make Jamaica look bad. His thing is to make our country look very evil and bad. Those people all the way coming our country and way disrespect Jamaica and our country, using Jamaica for contents. I can't support those people.
The snake. This guy made our place look so bad. And the guide is like trying to defend. He's like, no, Tyler's actually a good guy. He helped me get views and subscribers and stuff. And it's like, that's so disgusting that you're making this guy subtly, you know, you're not asking him to defend you. But
what do you think about Arab chilling with Taliban? I'm actually kind of shocked because I never thought I would see the day where I would watch a Arab video, but I have been watching his TikTok videos where he's chilling with the Talibros, as he calls them. And it's actually really interesting. Obviously, there is he's not showing the full scope of everything, but most people that go to Afghanistan are not going to be able to do such a thing. But it's been shocking. He is not exactly how do I describe it? Taliban with American accents. I mean, that part doesn't shock me at all. What shocks me is that he's not. It's weird. He's not doing. He's currently still in Afghanistan. The content creator Arab who claimed he got kidnapped by Haitian warlords. If you remember, that became like a news story. He's in Afghanistan. I don't know if he still is, but I'm pretty sure he's still in Afghanistan. And he's hanging out with a bunch of people that he calls the Talibros. Okay. Overall, he is not. He's not a great dude. I mean, he's really, really bad. Not a fan of mine at all. Ironically enough, he's homies with Aiden Ross. And originally, when me and Will started our podcast, Christ, Morant, when Will and I first started our podcast called Fear and Malding, we actually wanted to use the name Brand Risk. Okay. And he, at the time, was like a Fortnite content creator before he went on this like crazy right-wing pivot. And he was like, no, our podcast is called Brand Risk. You can't steal from us. We're a smaller content creator. This was many, many years ago. Okay. Fear and Malding was supposed to be called Brand Risk. Okay. Years later, after he made his right-wing pivot, he was celebrating the fact that alongside Aiden Ross, that he had actually stopped me from using the name Brand Risk and that he was able to give the name Brand Risk to Aiden Ross. Yeah. And now Brand Risk is owned by Aiden Ross, at least for boxing, merch, and entertainment purposes. Yeah. The original name of our podcast, instead of Fear and Malding, was supposed to be Brand Risk. And we didn't want to upset or offend our content creator at the time. And we were like, all right, well, sorry. We didn't know that you had a podcast already called Brand Risk. So we just didn't do it. Anyway.
But essentially, he's wanting to defend you because you did give him a little bit of clout when you come into his country and just shit on it for 40 minutes. Like, what the fuck, dude? But it doesn't end there. Later on in this video, Tyler is walking around the street of all of the escorts, ladies of the nights walking around. And then Tyler sees this restaurant. And Tyler says this.
A lot of prostitutes out here. This is one of the hotels where the ladies get brought to have sex with the customers, the Johns. It is called the Pirate Ship Seafood Restaurant. I guess that's just a front, or seafood restaurant by day, prostitute brothel hotel at night. A little bit inconspicuous at first glance, but in actuality, people are getting banged in there for $15 US.
So Tyler just walking around sees this restaurant and sees that the lights are on and assumes that, oh my God, that's where all the people are getting fucked in there, man. It's just fucking grimy. It's a brothel. It's the dirtiest place you've ever seen. Yeah, that's where it's happening at. Tyler, this is a Christian catering restaurant that does weddings. Why the fuck would you just make up a lie about this? For what? Like, what is the story that you're trying to tell? Oh, how shitty it is? I don't think you have to disparage a Christian catering restaurant for weddings and say it's a brothel. And the dumbest part about this is, like, You know, Tyler makes like two things. He's like, one, it's a brothel. Two, it's an actual restaurant. And then it's a brothel at night. Like, you can't just say like, oh, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Which, we're going to go into that later. That's a whole other can of worms. Either way, in that situation, it's a brothel. But you don't know that, Tyler. The thing is like, this is in a country where they're trying to rebuild. And you're just shitting on the people there for no reason. I'm surprised the guy didn't stop you and say, what the fuck are you talking about? You're literally just making this shit up. Why would you do this, Tyler? Oh, because you're trying to get clicks and views by making whatever area you're in the shittiest place ever.
We're informing people about current events, topics that the broader public needs.
Like, there's shitty aspects of every place, dude. No matter where you're from. And you know this. Look around your own neighborhoods, right? Like, there's crime everywhere, of course. There is no place that is like purely devoid of crime. So anyone from around the planet could go and put a camera to the worst possible aspects or the most impoverished aspects of your neighborhood and present it in this false light. The problem here is that Tyler gets to do this against some of the most marginalized people, whether it's like going to Jamaica, the poorest places in Jamaica, or putting a camera on the faces of homeless people, like people that just don't have any defense mechanisms, like no people that don't get any sort of positive coverage whatsoever from the broader media ecosystem.
Damn, this guy's good.